The internet runs on code.
But code isn't enough.
Behind every deploy is a race against complexity.
Cloud scale, cost spike. AI rewrites the rules.
Tools break, titles change.
This is the world of DevOps, cloud, and software at scale.
Built on sleepless nights.
On-call alerts, silent fixes.
We don't just build features. We build the backbone of the modern world.
This is Run It Bear Podcast. Subscribe. Ship smarter, sleep better.
You're listening to Run It Bear Developer Podcast, where we strip tech down to its core. Each episode blends insights from our expert engineers, the developer community, and the support of AI.
Hello and welcome to new episode. You know that feeling, right? Staring at a block of code you know you wrote, scratching your head thinking, wait, how did this even work?
Yeah, been there.
Or worse, figuring out some nightmare bug, you push the fix, feel great, and then 2 sprints later, bam, same problem.
Yeah.
And you've got zero memory of how you solved it.
Yeah.
Your brain just runs arm-arf knowledge every time you merge to main.
Yes, the classic developer memory leak. It's real. We build these super complex systems.
Right.
But our own internal state management, it can feel pretty volatile.
Volatile is, putting it mildly, feels like forgetting your own name sometimes. We think we're these, logical machines.
Yeah.
But remembering specific solutions or why we made a decision 6 months ago, poof, gone.
Like it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like trying to run your prod database on, a Raspberry Pi Zero.
Yeah.
Just flaky.
Well, it's actually a fundamental thing. Our brains, they're amazing at solving new problems, spotting patterns, thinking on the fly.
Yeah.
But they aren't really designed like perfect indexed long-term databases for every single command or config tweak we ever touch.
Okay.
Think of it like having this incredibly fast CPU, tons of cache, but trying to use that L1 cache for permanent storage. It just doesn't work that way.
Oof. Okay, that analogy. That hits home. So if our brains are just glorified cache with no persistence layer, are we just doomed?
Yeah.
Constantly relearning stuff and hitting Stack Overflow with the same questions?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Actually, we've been looking into some really useful insights and knowledge tips, really, that point to this powerful tool. Often overlooked, though.
Okay, don't tell me it's mindfulness for code reviews or something.
No. Closer to documentation, maybe, but personal. It's the coding journal.
The journal. Okay, my first thought is pink, fluffy Dear Diary, glitter pens.
Wow.
That doesn't exactly scream peak developer efficiency to me.
No, definitely not pink and fluffy, unless, that's your thing. These insights frame it as a really practical technical tool.
Technical tool, okay.
Yeah, designed specifically to fight that forgetting problem, speed up your learning, and actually build a valuable asset for your career.
Okay, you've got my attention. Still a bit skeptical, maybe. I've tried setting up, elaborate Notion wikis for myself before. They just fizzle out. More effort than they're worth, usually.
That's a super common problem, yeah.
Yeah.
And something these insights really tackle. So the mission for us today, let's do a deep dive into this knowledge. Unpack what a developer journal really is.
Okay.
And show you why it might be this, total cheat code that, honestly, a lot of devs seem to be sleeping on.
All right, let's unpack it because, frankly, my personal history grep output is just embarrassing at this point. Yeah. So the core problem, our developer brains are, they're leaky. We solve something complex, feel like a genius.
For about 5 minutes.
Exactly. Then poof, the details are gone.
Right. And the key insight here is that's not a personal failing. It's not because you're a bad developer. It's just how our brains work. They're optimized for solving, connecting ideas, abstracting, not for rote memorization of that specific Docker command flag you used once.
Right. Or the subtle interaction between 2 environment variables.
Exactly. The brain keeps the concept,
Yeah.
maybe the algorithm of the solution,
Yeah.
but the gritty implementation details often gets garbage collected.
So my brain is like volatile RAM. Great for the now, but switch context, go for coffee.
Yeah.
Everything's potentially lost.
Pretty much. And this is where that central analogy from the source material is just perfect. It calls the dev journal your save file in an RPG.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, yeah. Finally beating the ridiculously hard boss in, say, Elden Ring. You spent hours, got the awesome loot, found a secret path, and then you just accidentally roll off a client 2 steps from the next site of grace.
Yes. All that progress, gone.
Pure rage quit material. Seriously.
That's developer life without saving your work. You wrestle with some gnarly integration, find a bizarre edge case, spend hours debugging, finally crack it. But if you don't hit save somehow, all that hard-won knowledge, it can just evaporate.
Okay.
Your journal, that's your persistent searchable SSD, backing up your brain's flaky RAM.
That SSD comparison is spot on. And the why this matters points from these insights. Super practical, like just reducing repeated pain.
Oh, absolutely.
Not having to Google the same obscure YAML syntax error for the 5th time, that alone feels worth the price of admission.
Totally. If you just jot down fixed YAML, parse error, needed double quotes here, future you doesn't have to go through that same painful debug loop again.
You've got your own personal, perfectly indexed guide to your own past struggle.
And make future you smarter, right? You're not starting from zero each time. You're building on past experience, leaving breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs through the code and through your own learning curve.
And crucially, it adds context that other tools just miss. Git is vital, obviously. Tells you what changed, when, who.
Sure, the facts.
But it rarely tells you why that specific change was made. Or like the 2 days you wasted going down a dead end first. Or that weird network hiccup that was the actual root cause.
Right. The story behind the commit message.
Exactly. Your journal captures that why, that gold layer of context on top of just the code changes.
Okay, I'm definitely starting to see the value beyond just like basic memory recall, but logging everything still feels like a lot. What do you actually put in this save file? It's not like daily complaints about Bob from accounting, right? Unless he broke the build again.
Well, unless Bob breaking the build was particularly traumatic, probably not the emotional blow-by-blow. The insights make it clear. Focus on specific, actionable, technical breadcrumbs.
Technical breadcrumbs, okay.
Think of it less like a diary, more like your personal debug.log for your entire dev process.
Debug.log for my life. I like that. All right, so what kind of breadcrumbs are we talking about?
First up, daily wins. Yeah. Even the small stuff.
I like compiled without errors on the first try, because that's a win for me sometimes.
Totally. Or even smaller. Finally got that Docker Compose networking, right? Here's the exact config snippet that worked. Or figured out that weird caching issue by clearing X. These small wins are easy to forget. Sure. But logging them builds momentum. Feels like gaining XP when you look back.
XP gain is always good. Okay, what else?
Blockers and WTFs. You know, that error message that made 0 sense, that 3-hour rabbit hole debugging something that turned out to be a typo, log it.
Oh, interesting. So not just solutions, but logging the struggle, the dead ends.
Absolutely. It helps you debug your own debugging process, see where you get stuck, what assumptions you make.
Okay, meta debugging. I like it. Next.
Decisions you made, and, crucially, why. Chose Zod over yep here because the TypeScript inference is way better for this use case.
Yeah.
Or skipped unit test for this UI component for now, relying on E2E coverage, plan to revisit in Sprint X.
Ah, that is gold. That saves future you or someone else from staring at the code going, why on earth did they do that?
Exactly. It provides the narrative. Also, command line spells and config.
Oh, God, yes.
That perfect awk one-liner you spent an hour crafting. Third sync flags you always forget. Get them in the journal. Stop relying on history grep.
My history grep is. Yeah, it's a mess. Guilty.
We're all guilty. And the last one, a golden rule from the source. Stuff you had to Google again.
Huh. Oh.
The rule is if you Google the same thing twice, it goes in the journal, period.
So building your own personal Stack Overflow, but hopefully without the snarky comments.
Exactly. Your curated list of answers you actually needed in your context, not just the top voted one that didn't quite work.
So keep it short, structured, searchable, not a novel, a debug log.
Right. Lean and mean. And a pro tip from the source. Use bullet points, use actual code blocks for snippets and commands, and use tags like #bugfix, #lag, #performance, #react. Markdown makes this super easy.
Makes sense. Low friction, high signal. I can see that working. Okay, sold on the why. Got a good handle on the what. Now, the practical bit. Where do we actually, write this stuff? My mind immediately goes to some over-engineered Notion database.
Which I know deep down I'll abandon by next Tuesday.
That's the trap. And the source material really emphasizes you do not need some complex corporate-style knowledge base.
Yeah.
The best tool is the one that just gets out of your way. Low friction is key.
Okay, so what are the recommendations? What works well for devs?
Well, for a lot of us, VS Code plus Git is kind of perfect.
Oh, like literally version control?
Yeah.
For my brain, I could actually get behind that. That fits my workflow.
Exactly. Make a folder, use Markdown files, maybe one per day or per week, whatever works for you, and just push it to a private Git repo.
Okay.
It's free, it's portable, it's instantly searchable right in your editor, and you can even create a little template file, like journal.template.md.
A template? Yeah, that helps avoid the staring at a blank page problem. Good call.
Definitely lowers the barrier. What about something maybe a bit more Feature-rich, but still dev-friendly.
Yeah.
Obsidian gets recommended a lot. It's local first, uses Markdown.
Okay, local first is good. Markdown is good. And it has amazing linking capabilities, backlinks. So you can easily connect related thoughts, problems, solutions over time.
Ooh, backlinks. Like tracking a thought chain across multiple days or projects. That sounds potentially really powerful for complex stuff.
It's great for building that personal knowledge graph. Plus, it handles code blocks beautifully. Tons of plugins, themes, shortcuts, and tagging, obviously.
Yeah.
Hashtag debug, hashtag future oath, hashtag Python.
Nice. What about the terminal purists among us? Those who believe GUIs are a sign of weakness.
Of course.
Oh, good.
For them. Plain text files plus shell scripts, maybe a little cron job.
Okay.
Write in Vim, Nano, whatever. Use a simple script to maybe auto-create a dated file each morning. Keep it all in a folder managed by Git. Super minimalist, fits right into that workflow.
Pure, elegant. I respect it. Now, what about the Notion crowd? You mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, if you're already living in Notion and you use it heavily for other things, you can make it work. A database view with date properties, tags, relations. It's possible.
But I sensed a but.
The caution is, Notion can be a huge distraction magnet. You sit down to log a quick bug fix.
And an hour later, you're redesigning your entire dashboard layout with custom icons.
Exactly. It works if you have the discipline to stay focused.
Yeah.
But the potential for yak shaving is high.
Too real. Okay, any other CLI tools like dedicated journaling apps?
Yeah, there are tools like Journal, which is a simple command line journal tool.
Right.
Or honestly, just rolling your own simple bash scripts combined with Git is a really solid option if you basically live in the terminal.
Right.
But the real bottom line from the source is this. The specific tool, it matters way, way less than actually forming the habit.
Okay.
Pick whatever feels easiest for you to open and just start typing in. The best tool is the one you'll actually use consistently.
Okay, this is great. We're moving beyond just memory. How does actually writing this stuff down, how does that make you a better developer? Does it like unlock some hidden coding superpower, refactor your brain?
It kind of feels like it sometimes. The source talks like this is debugging your brain.
Debugging my brain. Okay, like setting a breakpoint on my own thought process. How does that work?
Well, think about when you're stuck on a really tricky problem. Your thoughts are probably all over the place, right? Messy, maybe jumping between ideas.
Oh yeah, total chaos sometimes.
So the act of trying to write it down, okay, what was I actually trying to do here? What steps did I take? What exactly went wrong? What did I try next? Did that work? It forces structure onto that chaos.
Okay.
It's like running a linter on your own fuzzy thinking in real time.
Gotcha. So it's not just about having the note to look back on later. The process of writing it clarifies things now.
Exactly. That articulation forces clarity. And when you do this over time, you start spotting patterns in your own thinking.
Like what?
Like, I seem to always get tripped up by async-await logic in JavaScript, or, my productivity really tanks on Fridays after that huge planning meeting.
Okay, so it's like observability for your own workflow, like logs, metrics, traces, but for your brain.
That's a great way to put it. You gain insight into your own tendencies, your sticking points, your productive zones.
That's actually really powerful. You're not just logging code issues, but your own cognitive state around them.
Yes. And it brings clarity to complexity. Sometimes just writing the problem down, trying to explain it clearly to yourself, helps you see the solution. It's like a personal post-mortem, but without the blame.
Just understanding the system being me.
Right. And there's a cool meta-level bonus the source points out. Over time, your journal becomes this sort of knowledge graph of your specific development journey.
How so?
You see patterns in your interests, the tools you gravitate towards, the types of problems you enjoy solving, areas you maybe need to skill up in. Plus, you get these journaling receipts.
Journal receipts. I love that. Like evidence.
Exactly. Concrete examples you can pull up when explaining a decision, mentoring someone, or even in a performance review. See, back in April, I documented hitting this exact scaling issue and proposed solution X.
Here's my log entry. Time-stamped. Okay, that's brilliant.
Proof of your process, your foresight. The source had a great quote on this. Writing is nature's way of letting you know how fuzzy your thinking is.
Ooh, that cuts deep. And it's so true. If I can't write it down clearly, I probably don't understand it well enough to code it reliably either.
Your brain has bugs. Journaling is a surprisingly effective debugger.
But it's not just about the technical clarity, is it? I mean, this job, it can be stressful. Burnout is real. Did the insights touch on that side of things?
It absolutely did. It frames journaling as a form of async therapy. Now, obviously, it's not a replacement for actual professional mental health support if you need it.
Right. Important caveat.
But it provides this private, judgment-free space to just offload frustrations, reflect on a tough day, hit the reset button mentally.
Async therapy, I get that. Just dumping the swirling mess out of your head onto the page.
Yeah.
Like running free H on your brain's memory usage.
Exactly. It's a pressure release valve. You don't even have to solve anything in the entry. Just vent. Ugh, this deployment failed again. Kubernetes is mocking me. I tried restarting the pods. No luck. Might cry, need coffee.
That is a very relatable journal entry.
And the source emphasizes developer journaling can be messy. It doesn't need to be polished prose, that kind of entry. Perfectly valid, perfectly useful.
That makes it feel much more doable. Less pressure.
Definitely. And tracking these moods or stress levels over time, that can help you spot your personal burnout triggers. Okay, wow, every time I skip lunch for 3 days straight, I end up making dumb mistakes and feeling overwhelmed.
Self-awareness leading to more sustainable habits.
Exactly. You know, bots might write code soon, but they can't journal about the existential angst of debugging CSS alignment issues for 3 hours.
True that. AI might ace the coding challenge, but can it truly capture the visceral pain of important flags not working?
Your journal is where the code meets the messy, complex, sometimes frustrating, sometimes awesome human experience. It's like DevNull, except the output actually helps you learn and grow.
Okay, this is sounding less like a nice to have and more like a how have I survived without this tool.
For personal growth, sanity. But the source material went even further, right? Claiming your journal can be like your best resume, your secret weapon knowledge base. How does that work?
Yeah, it frames the journal as this seriously underrated career weapon. It acts as your living knowledge base, your technical diary, and yeah, your own private, super effective secret resume.
Secret resume. Okay, unpack that. Any detail?
And think about job interviews, that question. Tell me about a time you faced a significant technical challenge.
Yeah, my mind usually goes completely blank, or I mumble something vague about fixing a CSS bug 3 years ago.
Exactly. But if you've been journaling, you have concrete, detailed examples ready to roll. Ah, yes. Let me tell you about the recurring API timeout issue we had in our payment service last quarter. I actually journaled my debugging process. Okay.
Explored potential causes, from network latency to database locks. Ended up implementing a retry queue with exponential backoff, tracked the metrics showing improvement. I can even pull up the key decision points from my notes.
Whoa. Okay, that level of detail. That shows not just what you did, but how you think, troubleshoot, reflect. That's incredibly impressive in an interview setting.
It demonstrates depth, process, resilience. And the source contrasts this personal knowledge base with, the typical company wiki.
Oh, God. The Confluence graveyard where information goes to die, dusty, outdated.
Exactly. Those are often neglected, generic, hard to search. Your journal, it's alive, it's personal, it's in your voice, containing the specific knowledge you actually needed and used.
Like remembering the exact structure of that complex GraphQL query you wrote 6 months ago, or why you chose that specific library.
Precisely. Your journal has it, often with way more useful context than the official sanitized documentation might.
And what about team benefits, like onboarding new folks?
Oh, it's fantastic for that. Now, you probably wouldn't share your entire raw journal.
Right. Probably not the venting parts.
But pulling out sanitized excerpts or summaries about key architectural decisions, common pitfalls, how you solve tough problems, that becomes an invaluable resource for getting new team members up to speed or mentoring junior devs.
It's like giving them a boss fight walkthrough for the code base, instead of just saying, good luck, read the docs.
A boss fight walkthrough, that's a perfect analogy, way better than here's the repo link.
Definitely. And for performance reviews, or 1.1s with your manager.
It's your cheat sheet. You have a factual, dated record of your contributions, the challenges you overcame, the new skills you learned, your growth. No more struggling to remember what impactful thing you did 6 months ago.
It's like building your own personal evidence trail. Makes your
fun.
value visible, trackable. When someone asks, what do you actually do all day?
You've got the logs.
Yeah.
You have the narrative of your impact. And the source makes a really specific point about senior developers here.
Oh, yeah. Because my first instinct might be, I'm senior, I've seen it all, my brain is the knowledge base.
Right. That feeling of, my experience is my documentation.
Yeah. My accumulated wisdom should be enough.
And yet,
Yeah.
you still forget that one obscure kubectl flag, right? or the exact reasoning behind a complex architectural decision from last year. Being senior means you've learned a ton, often the hard way.
True.
But it doesn't magically grant you perfect, infallible recall. Memory still fades.
Okay, point taken.
Yeah.
You got me there. So it's still a force multiplier, even for experienced devs.
Absolutely. For seniors, the journal becomes crucial for tracking those high-level architectural decisions, revisiting the why behind technical trade-offs. Why did we choose Kafka over RabbitMQ for that event stream? Here are my notes from that design discussion.
It's less about remembering basic syntax, maybe, and more about remembering the strategic thinking.
Exactly. And modeling that thinking for others. That tricky CI/CD pipeline fix you implemented? A junior asks about it. You open your journal, October 23. Deployment flaky underload. Traced to race condition in service startup. Spent 4 hours debugging. Implemented strategy X with this specific config. Reduced deployment failures by 90%. See associated ticket, #123.
That's not just technical info. That's mentorship through documented experience. Leadership through context.
Right. It provides receipts for those leadership conversations, retrospectives, planning sessions, proof you saw issues coming, made reasoned calls, learned from mistakes.
It's a source of truth for your own contributions and perspective.
And there's a bonus, the humble check, as the source puts it. Even seniors can review their journal and spot patterns, maybe inefficient time use, maybe getting stuck on things they should know.
Keeping yourself honest. Seniority isn't about knowing everything. It's about continuous learning and applying experience effectively.
And documenting that experience makes it stick, makes it transferable. Your journal is like your senior dev sidekick, always there, holding the context.
All right, I am officially on board. This isn't just Dear Diary with code snippets. The why is solid, the what makes sense, the tools are there, the benefits sound massive. Personal, career, team, but there's always a but.
The habit.
Consistency. That feels like the real boss battle here. Sounds great in theory, but how do you actually make this stick? Not just do it for 3 days and then drift away.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And the source really hammers this. Keep it stupidly simple, especially at first. Don't try to build Rome in a day.
Okay, KISS principle for journaling. I like it. Hit me with the practical tips. How do we form the habit?
Number 1, start small. Like really small, 5 minutes. That's it. Set a timer if you have to.
5 minutes a day. Okay, even I can probably manage that.
Yeah.
What do I even write in 5 minutes?
It's the basics, what I worked on, what I got stuck on, one thing I learned or fixed. Don't aim for perfection or detail. Just get something down.
Okay, low bar. I like it.
Number 2, stack it with an existing habit. Tie journaling to something you already do automatically, right after daily stand-up. Before you log off, during your first coffee, maybe even a git commit hook for significant stuff.
Habit stacking. Makes sense. Like adding a lint step to your build.
Exactly. Make it part of an existing routine. Number 3, use templates. Staring at a blank page is intimidating.
Totally. Blank page anxiety is real.
So have a simple template ready. The source suggests something like date, worked on, blockers WTFs, fixes discoveries, useful commands configs. Maybe add mood mental state if you want that async therapy benefit.
Having that structure.
Yeah.
Just filling in the blanks seems way less daunting.
Huge help. Number 4, automate reminders. Put a recurring event in your calendar. Use a VS Code plugin that gives you a little nudge. Or set up that simple terminal alias we talked about.
Like JNote.
Yeah, alias JNote, code dev journal, date plus percent, blast nash percent marriage party, nd2.md, or whatever opens your preferred editor. Make it muscle memory.
Hey, Jen, I might actually set that up right after this.
Do it. Number 5, make it feel personal, maybe even fun. Use emojis ADOS, link to a song you were listening to while debugging, drop in a relevant meme. Treat it like your own slightly weird personal changelog.
My changelog would be full of fix. Finally centered the div and feet. Shipped love in flow. Whore, pray for me.
All perfectly acceptable. And a final pro tip, reward yourself. Maybe if you hit your 5-minute goal every day for a week, you, I don't know, buy yourself a fancy coffee or something.
Positive reinforcement. Okay, so
Yeah.
The key is consistency over perfection. One bullet point is better than nothing.
Absolutely. Just showing up, opening the file, writing something, that's the win. Future you will definitely thank you. Probably sarcastically, but still.
Okay, let's try and wrap this deep dive up. The TLDR from all these insights feels pretty stark, actually. Your brain, it's not Git.
Nope. It doesn't do version control well. It loses context. It definitely doesn't survive a reboot with all data intact.
And a developer journal isn't some, like, fluffy, nice-to-have or productivity hack. It's looking more like a fundamental survival tool for navigating this crazy, complex field.
It really is. It helps you remember the how and the why behind solutions.
Debug your own thinking processes.
Track your growth, spot patterns, learn faster.
To manage stress, build your own personal, non-snarky Stack Overflow.
And yeah, ultimately become a better troubleshooter, a better teammate, a better mentor.
The simple act of writing forces you to clarify your thoughts. It makes things stick.
Your decisions, your mistakes, your breakthroughs, they get logged, they become concrete instead of just fading away.
And even if literally no one else ever sees a single line of it, that journal is proof. Proof you showed up, you wrestled with the hard problems, you learned something, day in, day out.
And when that next nightmare bug hits, or that big interview comes along, you won't just have the code commits, you'll have the story, the context, the thought process, the receipts.
So the challenge. From these insights directly to you listening right now, just try it. Give it 7 days.
1 entry a day. That's it.
Doesn't have to be fancy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be long. Just open a file, a note app, a terminal, whatever, and write something.
Because, as the source material powerfully puts it, the best devs don't just ship code, they log the journey.
Ooh, that's a strong finish. Something to really mull over. We really hope you're finding these deep dives useful, maybe helping you navigate the often wild ride of being a developer. And hey, we'd genuinely love to hear from you on this one. Are you already keeping a dev journal? Any tips we missed? Or are you maybe thinking of taking up that 7-day challenge after hearing this?
Yeah, let us know.
Drop a comment, share your opinions, tell us something you learned or something that resonated. We read them all.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to Run It Bear. Like, subscribe, and share. For more interesting deep dives, join our blog. Link is in description. Catch you next time.